Good morning, and today we're standing in Salmon Arm, British Columbia on the shores of one bay from the Shuswap Lakes, which cover literally thousands of acres in this part of British Columbia, natural lakes. We've been up in Revelstoke, BC, where I served a baptism and some other divine services and blessed some homes. Our monastery has been taking care of the Orthodox, mostly Greek population in Golden and Revelstoke for the last 30 years. So it was nice to see some of the people whom I had baptized, and in fact the person for whom I served a baptism was the baby of a girl whom I baptized 22 years ago in Revelstoke. So it was really almost a family affair for me and for them. I wanted to make a couple of videos on the way home from Revelstoke, and the first one here on this very intensely sunny day will probably be a little washed out, but the scenery here is really quite spectacular. I wanted to say something more about the 21st century challenges of orthodoxy, and I think I might have been a little misunderstood when I said that in our new axial age, in this new axial period that we're in, we've passed from that era when the philosophers were the ones who generally shaped the mode of thinking and the way we had a worldview and our understandings of society and culture itself. And now we've passed into an era where the philosophers are not so important on the whole. Actually, it's the scientists, and particularly the physicists, who are the leaders of this axial era and who are shaping the way people think. And we can no longer speak about a worldview because people are now having a view that encompasses the universe. The big questions, whether there is life on other planets, in other solar systems, in other galaxies, and whether some of that life is more than just bacterial or single-celled, even to the point of the question of whether there are intelligent civilizations on other planets. These are the big issues that face us. The answers that philosophers can give to these questions are insignificant or meaningless because they're inevitably speculations shaped by various forces. If you're a very conservative philosopher, then no, there are no civilizations on other planets, there's no life on other planets. If you're inclined toward progressive thought, then you're almost certain there are intelligent life forms in other galaxies. And in between, you find every shade. But it's only the physicist and the scientist who can ultimately answer the question eventually, if indeed at all. So we have the worldview itself, though, is now shaped and formed not by the speculative thought of philosophers, but by the investigative thought of and approach of the scientist and the physicist. And it's a little troubling to me to find that the Greek Church and I think the Ecumenical Patriarchate have manifested the sort of usual ethnophilitism of the Patriarchate of Constantinople and want all Orthodox Christians in Canada and America to begin to refer to themselves as Greek Orthodox. That you couldn't be Canadian Orthodox or American Orthodox or Russian Orthodox. You have to be Greek Orthodox. And of course here in Canada in particular, we're in the habit of referring to ourselves simply as Orthodox Christians without any particular designation or national designation. But part of the idea advanced by the Greek Church this day, why we should all call ourselves Greek Orthodox, is because the Greek philosophers, the pagan Greek philosophers, they think are the foundation stones of modern Western culture and civilization. Well, once upon a time that was true, and there's still some lingering influence of Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, even the PreSocratics. We've had many of the Western philosophers who are actually shaped by the PreSocratic philosophers in many ways. And the PreSocratics were interested in the problem of change and permanence, and why things change and how they change or do they change. These were the big questions that drove the first axial period, the philosophical era. What are driving the modern era really are things beyond the surface of this earth, and even the idea that the nation state is somehow becoming obsolete, that we belong to a global community. That global community, by the way, is not Hellenistic, and it can't be Hellenistic. It is much far more shaped by consumer capitalism, the ideals of consumer capitalism, and by economic sciences and structures, not shaped by purely philosophical structures. So we want to move forward as we discuss this great axial period, and as we look at the beauty of the land and the beauty of the scenery around us as we make these videos, to think about the earth upon which we live, the ecological crisis, is something that only science can respond to. Global warming is something that only science can define. Those who philosophize about it are inevitably wrong about what they think the problems are, the sources are, and what's going to end up being the end results. So we want to continue this discussion, and we'll stop at in the Coast Range as we cross over the peaks of the Coquihalla Highway today to do another video and discuss these things a little further.